Hello and welcome to iBuzz. I'm your host Nosheen Bukhari, bringing you the best entertainment news from showbiz world, followed by a very interesting review on the movie Tonya. First things first, let me quickly take you to the top stories of the day. Liam Neeson unleashes thrill in trailer of the upcoming Netflix movie The Ice Road. Stockholm concert venue renamed to pay tribute to DJ Avicii. Ireland and Australia eliminated in first semi-final of Eurovision. A Quiet Place Part 2. Critics praise delayed sequel to 2018 horror hit. Glastonbury secures license for one-day September festival. And now moving to the top story of the day. Many critics have... To further discuss the critics' reviews, we have entertainment journalist Monica Charsley with us. Monica, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Right, so A Quiet Place sequel was delayed for the longest. I mean, long before COVID. Now that the cinemas are reopening in UK and US, do you think that there is hope for the sequel? And how do you see the welcoming attitude of the viewers who are going to see this movie in cinema after the reopening?
For me, I know for me personally, I've been lucky enough to work from home. So I've not had to go out or really want to step outside their house. It's a movie worth stepping outside.
Right, and Monica, just going through the reviews, do you think that a fan or somebody who has been anticipating this movie, they're already in a confusion? I mean, a lot of confusion has been created for the fans because there are very mixed reviews. So do you think that the fans should believe in these reviews, or they should wait for the movie to have their first-hand knowledge by themselves?
I think it needs first-hand knowledge because we've waited so long for it, and I think that wait, we need to check it out for ourselves instead of viewing, looking at a few reviews. But I've seen some of the mixed reviews, and I know that I wasn't expecting, before I saw the second trailer, to see the dad back. So they've done it so, they've got flashbacks coming back. So I know for some fans, that's a good thing, and that they still get to see the father because John Koneski is a very good actor. But for others, they thought that was already done. So I'm not sure. The only thing I'd be confused about is, okay, how much of the movie's going to be flashbacks and how much is going forward? But if they do it right, I think it will be great.
Correct. So Emily Blunt and Cillian Murphy, who is portraying Emily's neighbor, both have, do you think they have now a huge responsibility lying on their shoulders for this movie? What is your take on that?
Yes, a very huge responsibility, I think, because Emily Blunt now is the only caregiver. Well, she was, and now they've bumped into Cillian Murphy, who's their friend. And, the daughter in this, who's got the hearing impairment, she's very, rebellious and determined to find out the truth, and she can because of her hearing aid, which blocks out the aliens. And because of that, and the mum's got the baby to look after, I'm aware with the storyline that she says, I need you to go with my daughter to see, are there any survivors? So a lot of it's on the daughter as well, because she's determined to find out what's going on, and she knows that she's the only person who can do that with her hearing. So I think although a lot of it's on Emily Blunt, I think we're finally going to see the daughter come out more in her role.
Right, and are you excited for Cillian Murphy?
Yes, I think a lot of people are. I wasn't even aware that he was going to be in it, so I think it's welcome news for sure. And obviously, as we're only getting flashbacks of John Koneski, I think it's great to have bring another male into the role.
Right, and of course, it's not it's not something very out of the box concept, and we have seen Tremors and a lot of other similar versions in the past. But are you expecting anything different this time from the sequel?
The overall reaction to this one.
So, Monica, thank you very much indeed for this discussion.
Thanks for having me.
That was Monica with her expectations and predictions on A Quiet Place Part 2. Now moving to other story details. Hollywood's one of the most reliable action heroes, Liam Neeson, will be seen in one of the most thrilling scenes in his upcoming Netflix thriller, The Ice Road. The trailer is a clear proof. Netflix has dropped the trailer of Hollywood's action star Liam Neeson's upcoming action thriller, The Ice Road, as the action hero goes at full throttle in one of his last action roles in the movies. In his upcoming thriller, Liam Neeson, teaming up with fellow Oscar nominee Lawrence Fishburne, will be seen busy in a mission to rescue miners trapped in a Canadian diamond mine. A concert and sports venue in Stockholm has been renamed Avicii Arena in tribute to one of Sweden's most successful DJs, Tim Bergling, who took his own life in 2018 when he was just 28 years old. Bergling, who used the stage name Avicii, shot to international fame in 2011 with hit single Levels, but retired from touring in 2016 after suffering from mental health and other medical problems. Previously known as Globen, the Swedish word for globe, due to its spherical shape, the indoor sports arena and concert venue opened in 1989, the year of Avicii's birth. It is one of Sweden's largest, with a capacity of 16,000 people. Avicii played one of his breakthrough concerts in that arena. Ireland and Australia were among 6 nations to be knocked out of Eurovision in the song contest's first semi-final in Rotterdam. North Macedonia, Romania, and Slovenia were among the eliminated ones. Australia's early exit marks the first time the country has failed to make the final since it began competing in 2015. Iceland's act has also been forced to withdraw after one of its members tested positive for COVID, although its song will remain in the contest. Glastonbury organizers have secured a license for a one-off concert this September after the main festival was cancelled for a second year. Mendip District Council, which covers the festival's summerest location, approved the license allowing up to 50,000 people to attend the show. Now, it does not guarantee that the event will take place in September, but it means that the first hurdle has been cleared. And it's kind of good news that the festivals are coming back to routine now. We hope all the best for them. It's time for us to take a little short break here. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. In this segment, we will be reviewing a very interesting drama, I, Tonya. I, Tonya, a very stylish movie made up of fictionalized interviews based on real interviews with the characters involved on the Oregon side of the 1994 assault on figure skater Nancy Kerrigan. For a review and discussion, we have film composer Paul Ferrer with us. Paul, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Lovely to be here.
So, full of ice action, comedy, drama, crime, can one easily tell while watching the movie that what genre are we exactly looking at?
I think that's the genius of the film. It doesn't really have a genre. I mean, it's a biopic in the traditional sense, but it's playing with the rules of the biopic. In other words, one of the great things about it is the characters have this sort of first-person narrative. So a lot of the time, the actors will stop what they're doing. They'll look directly to the audience and say, you know, this happened or that happened, and they'll give an opinion. And the actual, the result of that is that as a viewer, you become sort of complicit in judging everyone. So the film sort of touches on celebrity. It touches on how a woman is treated if there's a suspicion of guilt, and in terms of how we view her. And as an audience member, you look at her and you're sort of trying to figure out, you know, is she the victim here? And because she's such a strong character, she doesn't behave like a victim. So as an audience member, you kind of think, well, she may be the villain then. In other words, we are very judgmental as we look at what she does.
Yeah, even about Sebastian's character. I mean, Jeff actually tried to help his wife out of love, but then, you know, things go out of hand, out of control, and that also makes him look like a villain.
Absolutely, and I think the really interesting thing about this film is it's set in two worlds, with Tonya sort of dividing herself between the two. And the one world is her home life which is cold, tough, hard, unforgiving, and brutal. And the other is the ice skating rink, which is cold, tough, hard, unforgiving, and brutal. And in order to survive in both of those worlds, she needs to have a sort of a real inner strength. And she's surrounded on all sides by people that show their love for her in sort of unconditional ways. I mean, Sebastian Stan, as you say, he is actually trying to help wife, although in a broken and sort of a corrupted and criminal way. It sort of comes from a place of love. And of course, the standout performance of the film is Alison Janney as Tonya's mother, Lavona, and absolutely deservedly won an Oscar for it. She also, in a weird kind of perverted way, is acting out of love. She wants the best for her daughter, and she's making these sacrifices, and she's pushing her daughter, and she's doing things that are absolutely hideous that we just can't imagine that any mother would ever do. And yet the drive comes from wanting the best for Tonya. And in the middle, you've got this incredibly tough woman who's trying to balance her life, surrounded by people that are trying to help her, but by doing hideous things.
Right. And Paul, can we talk about Margot Robbie's remarkable performance here? I mean, she actually had to go to train herself as a figure skater for this movie. I mean, that is what we call method acting, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and I think she's sustained quite a few injuries. I do actually know some Olympic figure skaters. I've worked on a few shows with a couple of them, and they are a different breed of human. They are incredibly tough. The way they deal with pain, the ice is brutal, it takes no prisoners, and that sort of being able to demonstrate that the physicality of real athleticism and being able to deal with the pain of injuries and falling over and all that sort of stuff, it's as demanding a role as I think it gets for an actress, and she did it brilliantly. And of course she's got this sort of internal doubt the whole time about that she's up against the hard ice, but she's up against the world, which is hard, and she has to sort of just fight her way through it. And there's these incredible moments of searing honesty as she's just sort of putting herself together and looking in the mirror and painting on a smile and going out there despite the pain that she's feeling.
And talking about overpowering the main character, it was like so much so that she even got herself nominated for the Oscars.
Absolutely, and deservedly so. And I think this is the testament to films like this. This was not a big budget film. This was $11 million, the budget, which doesn't cover the cost of the lunch on Avengers films. And I think that sort of real integrity of making the film not about the splashy effects or the shiny stuff. It's about its characterization. It's well-written characters that are fleshed out by actors and actresses that really inhabit those characters, and they draw you into them. And as a result, at the end of the film, it just is it's very, very satisfying. But of course, the one thing that we haven't really talked about is just how funny it is. It is an actual proper, for keeps, solid gold comedy. I mean, it's got a black heart. It's a very dark, bleak, dystopian comedy, but it is a comedy nonetheless. It's almost in the vein of a Coen Brothers film, because it has a very subtle, dark humor that's built from characterization and the worlds that these people inhabit. It's been described as a sort of a Goodfellas on ice, because it's got the sort of it's got a sort of a heist element to it and what happened, and you're trying to sort of piece it all together. But actually, in many ways, it's sort of a little bit more reminiscent. I don't know if you remember the film with Meryl Streep, Cry in the Dark, about it from back from late 80s, 88, where she's a woman who is wrongly accused of doing a terrible crime, but her demeanor is she refuses to play the victim. She refuses to behave in a way that the media kind of would like her to behave, and as a result, she's incredibly judged very, very harshly because we just kind of think, well, you don't look like a victim, therefore I'm going to assume you're the villain. And that is the echoes of that level of acting and that kind of character study is very, very similar. It's present in Ice On.
So yeah, the movie, it happened to be very lucky for Sebastian Stan, who was taken for granted previously. I mean, he was kind of the most underrated actor. But after I, Tonya, we see him scoring really good and doing wonders up until now. So what is your take on that?
Absolutely. I mean, he is I think the phrase in showbiz is excellence waiting to happen. And I think he's to me, he's the epitome of a terrific screen actor as opposed to a movie star. Movie stars often they turn up as almost celebrities in their film, and they're always the same person no matter what they are. Sebastian Stan is so good that he's able to sort of morph himself into the character. And as we see, this was a real sort of jumping board for his career, and he's gone on to great things. He's working on the new Pamela Anderson biopic, and just early buzz from that and photographs have been really, really positive, because it's a strength that when Hollywood's working at its best, it's hiring phenomenal actors and giving them roles that they can really inhabit and that they can really do something with. And Sebastian Stan is very much like that. He's a very sort of a flexible actor, but you kind of sense there's real depth behind the performance. It's not showy or show busy. It's not sort of movie acting. It's real film acting. And of course, when you're opposite somebody like Margot Robbie, it's really good for her to be able to show that she is a serious actress, not just a Marvel superhero kind of pretty movie star, that she does have real substance.
And Margot, being the producer of the movie, she herself, shared that by the time they were having these auditions, when Sebastian Stan gave his audition, she was like, okay, lock it, he's the one, and we don't need more auditions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, I always love it when people reveal themselves to be so much more than we kind of like to think that they are. In other words, Margot Robbie's career could have been just a sort of a short-term, stunningly beautiful woman, high-profile films, and yet actually this is one of those great films that shows her as being a true film talent. Getting involved in the production side, making some decisions about the casting, making some decisions about the characterization. Obviously, she would have been involved in scripting, in terms of tweaking things and inhabiting that character. And I think I think those small budget films they allow that sort of freedom, and you can see that in the right place at the right time, actors, terrific actors as opposed to film stars, like Sebastian, like Margot, that they have that sort of platform to be able to do great things with very little, because there's that core of characterization.
Correct. Paul, thank you very much indeed. It was a very wonderful discussion, and I really enjoyed it.
It's my pleasure. Please watch the movie. I guarantee you'll love it.
Thank you. That was Paul Ferrer with his remarkable review on a remarkable movie, I, Tonya. And that is it from today's episode. We hope you liked it. Don't forget to share your feedback on the social media link mentioned down below. We'll see you next time. Until then, take care and goodbye.